The preseason patch has been out for a couple weeks, so we now have a really good idea of who the most impactful carries are. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the 10 most OP champions to climb with in preseason 2023. 2 champions for every single role that are a step above everyone else. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Starting off in the top lane, the most broken champion in the entire game right now is Fiora. Fiora's win rate spiked about 3% due to the preseason patch, and it's for a couple of different reasons. With the tank item rework, we have many players experimenting with the items which indirectly buffs Fiora. Fiora loves playing into tanks due to her consistent DPS, mobility, and of course true damage potential. Fiora is also winning 59% of the time against Cassante, and considering he's being played a ton, it's amazing for her. Tanks coming back is great, but arguably the biggest influence to Fiora's power level has been the buff to Ravenous Hydra. The item is now the most optimal rush option for Fiora and provides her with incredible early game snowball power. Bonus AD and Omnivamp, along with the ability to perma-push waves, gives Fiora a crazy amount of side lane pressure. It's not just Ravenous though, as Spear of Shojin fits in perfectly as a third item. The core of Ravenous into Divine Sunder and Spear of Shojin is absolutely insane. Rune Page for Fiora is Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, Grab Resolve for secondaries with Bone Plating and Unflinching. Our second top lane pick is not quite on the same level as Fiora, but trails right in behind as the number 2 top lane carry, being Shen. Shen is by far the best abuser of the new core build, consisting of Heartsteel into Titanic Hydra. All the health is amazing for Shen, as it provides him with a massive shield from his ultimate, 1.3k health from his first 2 items, and if we do a quick calculation, knowing that Shen R scales off 16% of his bonus health, he's getting an extra 208 shielding. The passive from Heartsteel providing even more bonus health for fighting the opponent is insane too. If Shen gets ahead in lane and is able to constantly skirmish, then the health stack becomes even more ridiculous. Shen can also play quite well into Fiora and Camille compared to most other top lane picks, so he's a good answer to what we see in the current meta. The optimal rune page for Shen is Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Run Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. Jungle has slowed down a little in preseason, with counter jungling being less effective and smite upgrades coming in later than before. This has allowed for junglers who have a very strong level 6 or a great mid-game spike to rise in power, and Echo has most definitely been one of them. Everything comes together really well for Echo, as he now spikes super hard all at once. Full Smite upgrade will come in at around the same time Echo hits his 2-item core, allowing him to completely take over games from then on out. Echo's ability to secure objectives has become even more ludicrous for preseason as well. Since Smite now deals 1200 damage to monsters at the max upgrade, it's hilariously easy to steal objectives. Echo's passive combined with E deals well over 1000 damage to monsters on 3 items, so add on Smite and that's over 2000 damage in an instant. That's Nunu and Cho'Gath level crazy, but Echo actually has the advantage because he can dash over walls to steal. There's always a way back into the game when you're playing Echo in solo queue, which makes him really strong and fun to play. The build is a Rocket Belt Rush into Lich Bane or Nashor 2nd and Rabadon's 3rd. Run First Strike as the keystone with Magical Footwear, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Best secondaries are Eyeball Collection and Treasure Hunter. Another super OP jungle for preseason that many players are actually building wrong is Hecarim. So many players continue to rush Divine Sunder or Umbral Glaive on Hecarim when either Ravenous or Spear of Shojin are far superior. Hecarim's best performing build right now completely bypasses building a mythic item, as the combo of Ravenous and Spear works wonders. Clear speed becomes insane with the early Tiamat purchase, and the snowball power from Ravenous works so well with how Hecarim wants to play. Heck clears camps super fast, so it's very easy to keep max stacks on Ravenous Hydra's carnivorous passive. At max stacks, Ravenous will provide 85 AD, which allows you to start one-shotting anyone in sight. In tandem with Spear of Shojin, this core is the ultimate solo queue stomping build, as dueling power and ability to accelerate leads is way too good. Your one-shot power is so strong with this build that you don't need the ramping damage of Conqueror, so run Phase Rush as the keystone instead. Phase helps you a little more with the squishier setup, as you don't want to be staying in the middle of fights for an extended duration. As if Zed wasn't already an OP mid laner for solo queue, he's become even more godlike for preseason. I'm sure you can probably guess why that is, and if your answer is Ravenous Hydra, then you're exactly right. Very few players are actually taking advantage of Ravenous on Zed though, but the players who are building it are winning at insane rates. You can build Ravenous first or second depending on how the lane is going. If you are in a more difficult lane and aren't able to pressure, then rushing Eclipse for a little more defensive power is great. On the flip side though, if you get an early kill and can look to accelerate that that advantage, then definitely rush Ravenous. The complete core you'll want to run is Ravenous Hydra into Eclipse second and Cyrilda's Grudge slots in third. For runes, grab Electrocute with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter. Secondaries are Transcendence and Scorch. The best mid lane mage and our second most OP mid for preseason is Syndra. Syndra has been in a great state ever since her mini rework, as her more potent mid to late game is really nice. 2 Q charges, the massive stun width on E, and her execute from ultimate provide Syndra with so much more presence. The long range pick power from Syndra E is so impactful for solo queue, and she has some of the best zone control because of it. Really underrated secondary summoner spell on Syndra right now is Ghost. Teleport is great in more difficult early game matchups, but in easy lanes, being able to run Ghost and have more mobility to roam faster and maneuver around in teamfights feels super nice. The build for Syndra is a Luden's Rush into Shadowflame second and Rabadon's third. First strike is the optimal keystone with free boots, Dematerializer, and Cosmic Insight. Grab Transcendence and Gathering Storm for secondaries. If you can play a good Draven, he is an extremely strong ADC for preseason. Draven is definitely flying a little under the radar right now, as many players have yet to realize how strong Ravenous Hydra is on the champ. As one of the best early game marksmen there are, Draven has the ability to pick up a very early Ravenous Hydra and completely decimate lanes. The raw AD from Ravenous gives Draven's Q so much consistent DPS, while the Omnivamp means that even if you trade evenly, it's actually a winning trade since you'll heal to full health on the next wave. Majority of ADCs do not incorporate any lifesteal into their builds early on, so it's really easy for Draven to exploit that with this Ravenous Rush. The complete core build consists of Ravenous Hydra into Kraken Slayer second and Lord Dominic's third. You can swap Lord Doms for Bloodthirster if the enemy comp is not very tanky. For the rune page, pick up Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Taste of Blood and Treasure Hunter work great for secondaries. For our second ADC selection, we would argue she's actually in an even stronger spot than Draven, as Kai'Sa is the pick. With all these melee champions being played in preseason and stacking a ton of health, Kai'Sa can play really well into them with her on-hit setup. If the enemy comp has a Heartsteel user, then running the Kraken with Blade combo can do a really good job at shredding them down. The build versatility is just really great for Kai'Sa right now, as you can even go for a Quick Blade setup in games where the enemy comp is more squishy. Kraken into Phantom Dancer second and Quick Blade's third is actually Kai'Sa's top performing build in solo queue. You can pick Kai'Sa and know that whatever the enemy comp plays, you will have an answer to it, which feels really nice. For runes, run Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Magical Footwear and Biscuits are the way to go for secondaries. For our first support pick, we have a bit of a curveball that many would not expect, as it's Rel, so let's explain. Despite the support role seeing no direct changes for preseason, there has been one new item addition influencing the role. That item is Radiant Virtue. Rel players that rush the standard Locket or even Shroud are winning around 52% of the time, which is pretty normal for Rel. Rel players that rush Radiant Virtue are currently winning at an insane clip of 58%. This is not due to a small sample size either, as there have been over 5,000 Radiant Virtue Rel games so far. So why does Radiant Virtue works so well with Rel? The Guiding Light passive on Virtue provides Rel with ridiculously strong all-in power. Whenever you use Ultimate, you will grant your team bonus ability haste and healing power, which makes skirmishing super nuts. Keep in mind that you grant these stats to every single teammate within 1200 range of you, so the gold value from Virtue can be massive in a 5v5 fight. The core build to try on Rel is a Radiant Virtue Rush into Knight's Vow second and Wardstone third. Rune page is Glacial Augment with Hex Flash, Dematerializer, and Cosmic Insight. For secondaries, run Bone Plating and Unflinching. To round out the top 10, the best support you can play for preseason is Janna, and it's not really close. Janna completely shuts down the current solo queue meta. There are so many melee champs being played in top and jungle that Janna can nullify super hard. You have to go all the way down to the 23rd most played top laner to find a ranged champion right now. For jungle, with the likes of Hecarim and Echo and super OP spots, picking Janna can really help shut them down. Even for mid lane, you got Zed and Sylas as the most played, so Janna just plays into these melee heavy comps perfectly thanks to her unmatched peel power. The build for Janna is a Moonstone Rush followed by Redemption or Putrefier second and Ardent Censer third. Take Glacial as your keystone with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Best secondaries are Font of Life and Revitalize. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there are the 10 most OP champions you can play for Preseason 13. Thank you guys so much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and we will see you in the next one.